Hi everyone, this is Aaron from HH Watch Reviews. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we will take a look at the Militado ML01. This is going to be a short review because there isn't a lot to say about this watch. But before we start, I want to disclose that addiesdive sent me this watch for free and I don't have to send it back. As always, that won't affect my review and they'll see this review at the same time as everyone else. Now back in 2022, Baltic released the MR01, a watch that was very well received by the watch community. The design of that watch was influenced by some classic dress watches, mainly the Patek Philippe Calatrava Reference 96. So in other words, that watch was an homage to the Patek Philippe. Now I mentioned the Baltic because, well, obviously you can see the resemblance here. Not just the looks, but also the model name. So the Militado ML01 is a homage to the Baltic MR01, which in itself is also an homage to the Patek Philippe. Now, one of the reasons why the Baltic is so popular is the price. At a fraction of the cost of the Calatrava, it's a no-brainer for someone like me who is in no position to acquire the Patek to have a dressy watch with a classic design. But what about the people who don't want to spend around $600 on a watch? Well, that's where the Militado ML01 comes in. At just a fraction of the cost of the Baltic, this becomes an even easier watch to recommend. Now, I will stop the comparisons here because I think that it's pretty clear where the design influence comes from, and also because there's just no point in comparing a $73 watch to a $600 watch. So let's take a look at the ML01 and see if it's worth the $73 price tag they're asking. But before we begin, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell if you don't want to miss my reviews. This helps the channel grow and I get to share more watches with you guys. When it comes to dress watches, I think that 36mm is the perfect size for my 7-inch wrist. The only dress watch I have in my collection is the Orion Star Classic, which measures 38mm. I really like that watch and I'll never get rid of it because it has sentimental value to me. But every time I wear it, which isn't very often, I just can't stop myself from imagining how beautiful it would be if it was only 2mm smaller. So I was very happy to see that the ML01 measured 36mm in diameter. The rest of the dimensions are also spot on. With a lug-to-lug distance of 43.5mm, the watch wears very compact on my wrist. The lug width is 20mm, which gives this watch a nice broad shoulders look. I know a lot of people prefer 18mm on a 36mm case. I think that the lug width measuring half the size of the diameter is what is considered the better proportion, but I just prefer the wider 20mm look. It makes the watch look bigger without actually wearing bigger. A dress watch also needs to be able to slide under a cuff easily, and this watch, with its 10mm thickness, does that with ease. About 2mm of that thickness is the domed Hardlex crystal, so the watch looks even slimmer on my wrist. Overall, the dimensions of this watch are perfect and I just love how it wears on my wrist. Now, let's take a look at the design. Like I said before, it is not an original design, but I really like the design decisions that were made on this watch. For example, if we look at the watch from the top or the face of the watch, everything is finished in high polish. Whether it's the top of the lugs or the hands and markers, everything has the same high polish finish. The top surfaces reflect light in a way that it gives this watch a very nice blingy look, and I really like that. The high polish finish is also present on the side of that thick bezel, but the case side has a horizontal brushed finish. I really like this for 3 reasons. First, when looking at the profile of the watch, that polished bezel side gives this watch an extra design element to an otherwise very simple and plain case side. Secondly, that brushed finish will better deal with scratches. And finally, the different finishes complement the fully polished look of the crown. While we are still looking at the profile of the watch, let's have a look at the lugs. The mid case is pretty flat overall, but the lugs curve down just enough to help the watch hug the wrist. The lugs also have drilled holes for easy strap changing. That's good because the strap that comes with the watch doesn't have quick release spring bars. Honestly, I removed the original strap after wearing it for a few hours and never wore it again. I found it to be a bit too long, the color is not my favorite, and the hardware has a completely different finish to the case, almost like a bead blasted finish. I've been wearing the watch on this dark gray strap I got from Aliexpress, and I really like this combo. I'll leave a link to the strap in the description down below if you're interested in checking it out. Anyways, let's take a look at the dial, because that is the main selling point of this watch. I went for the grained blue dial, but this watch is available in a few different configurations. There is the salmon dial, the white dial, sunray blue and grained blue dial, and a black dial with gold hands and markers. I had a hard time choosing between them because honestly they all look very nice, but I went for the grained blue dial for a few different reasons. First, most of the dial is finished with this grain texture that is subtle but visible enough that it gives the dial some extra depth. I also think that it contrasts well with the high polished brigade numerals and leaf shaped hands. The railroad minute track on the outskirts of the dial is printed in white, and the small running seconds at the 6 o'clock has a circular guilloche pattern. So all that I think just looks better with the blue dial that I chose. I appreciate the effort that Militado put to make this dial symmetrical. We have the Militado branding at the 12 o'clock with no other text on the dial. Then the seconds sub-dial is symmetrically placed at 6. There's even a dot in place of the 5 and 7 markers. There's 3 routes they could have went there. Leave it empty, put the 5 and 7 markers, but then cut it to fit the seconds sub-dial, or replace it with these dot markers, which in my opinion was and is the best option. So I'm glad that's the one they chose. The only thing I don't like about the dial is the brand name, Militado. Like, I read it and all I can think of is the words military and avocado, and none of those words have anything to do with this watch. At least they chose a nicer font for this watch compared to the other watches they have. Otherwise, this dial is very well executed, the printing is crisp and clear, the numerals and hands are very well finished, and the tone of the blue used here is perfect. So before I answer the question, is this watch worth the $73 price tag? I want to mention that this watch runs on the VD78 movement, which is a quartz movement with a small seconds hand. It hacks, that means that the second hand stops when setting the time, and the battery on this watch is expected to last about 36 months. I waited till the end of the review to mention the movement because honestly, it's the least important part of this watch for me. I said before that I have one dress watch in my collection and I barely wear it. I mostly wear dive watches, it just fits my lifestyle better and I really like the look of a dive watch more. But from time to time, I see a dressier looking watch that I really like the design, and oftentimes I don't buy it because I can't convince myself to spend $500 to $600 on a watch that I know I won't be wearing very often. So for example, take the Baltic MR01. When that watch came out, I think I watched every single review on YouTube, but I never actually bought the watch. Again, spending $500 to $600 on the Baltic MR01 for me was not really a good decision, knowing that I would most likely not wear the watch very often. So for someone like me, an affordable dress watch makes a lot of sense. And if it has to have a quartz movement inside to keep that cost down, then great. Also, that means that I don't have to think about setting the time every time I want to wear this watch, which, like I said, will most likely not be very often. So back to the question, is this watch worth $73? I think that it absolutely is for me. At 36 millimeters, it's the perfect size. It has an amazing textured blue dial. The breguet numerals and leaf-shaped hands are beautiful. It's thin, lightweight, and it's just easy to wear. But I want to know what you think. Leave a comment down below and let me know if you think this watch is worth the price tag. Anyways, that wraps up my review of the Militado ML01. If you are thinking of buying this watch, I will leave an affiliate link down below in the description. As usual, if you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it with a friend or two. And if you want to see more watch content, please subscribe to the channel and click on that notification bell to be notified when I upload new videos. As always, thank you for watching and I'll talk to you on the next one.